And when you have a script that they are interested in and it gets to the Hollywood level with a studio or a director, what sort of things do you have to do to defend your script when they want to make the script go all Hollywood, as they say?
Well, as I said, I'm in the independent film world, but that certainly does still exist. Sometimes it feels like your dream is that you'll work with people who are really great and have great ideas. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and sometimes you go down a lot of blind alleyways. So you can, like I had sold actually a pilot to ABC, and that process was very difficult for me because there were so many cooks who put their hand in the project while you were developing it. You had so many different levels of people that you had to sort of answer to, and I found that very uncomfortable for me, not like my process. And I actually sort of quit it before it actually got to the finished product because it was so uncomfortable to me. But sometimes, like certainly with Junebug, Phil Morrison was such a great collaborator and a great director and had such great ideas. On that film, there was very little improv. I mean, it really was what I had written. So sometimes it's a great experience.
As an independent filmmaker, tell me the things that are the advantages into producing and getting your projects going.
Well, actually now, independent film is getting more and more like you have to have a package. Usually you have to have a director attached and some, actor who has some kind of name value, and that's even becoming true in theater now as well. And all of independent film and also all filmmaking is in such flux right now that nobody knows where the industry is going or how it will continue, mostly because young people don't go to the films the way they did maybe 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. So nobody knows what's going to happen. It's a very difficult climate, as they say. I mean, all my friends who are in the movie business, all my friends in LA say they've never seen anything like it right now. There seems to be like these huge tentpole movies and then these very small movies, but they don't even make the money that Junebug did 5 years ago. Junebug made I think not quite $3 million at the box office, and I think about $5 on DVD or video at that time. Films now, which are considered successful independent films, it's like great if they break $1 million or $2 million, and then all of DVDs sales are way down. But they're still expensive to make. So nobody knows where film is going or how they're going to change the model in order to support the industry.
What advice do you give to a screenwriter who wants to get into this?
Do something else. Well, my biggest advice, really seriously, is that the thing that you have that's of the most value is who you are uniquely as a person. So I say you've got to connect to that more than anything else, because chances are whatever you do is not going to get made anyway. So why not make something that's meaningful to you instead of something that you think is going to sell? That you don't really believe in. Also, there are some good books. I always recommend one really good book called How to Write Great Film for Television and Movies by Donna Cooper, Donna with one N. It's a terrific little book that's not really it's not a how-to book, it's really about storytelling and what the essence of all storytelling is. So it's not even just for screenwriters, but anybody who writes these. She actually is a teacher at the North Carolina School of the Arts, which I didn't find out about until like 5 years after I had read the book and kept recommending it. And then I found out that she taught there. But it's a terrific little book.
Below the Line continues right after this. We're back with Hollywood screenwriter Angus Maclachlan. Tell us about the play Stone that was turned into a screenplay that was shot recently in Michigan starring Robert De Niro. Tell me about that whole process.
Yes, it's with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton and Mila Jovovich and Francis Conroy, and it's directed by John Curran, and it's finished and it's coming out October 8th. Edward Norton is is an inmate who's trying to get Robert De Niro, who's a case analyst at his prison. Norton is trying to get De Niro to recommend him for parole, and sort of it's a very intense drama. It's very different than Junebug, and it sort of deals with moral responsibility and religion and God and marriage, and so we'll see how it turns out.
Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that is screenwriter Angus Maclachlan. We'll be back right after this. Writer, director, producer Gary Wheeler joins me now. Thank you, Gary, for having us here. This is one of your pre-release screenings for your latest movie, The Trial. Tell us about the movie.
It's The Trial is a best-selling novel, an adaptation of a best-selling novel by Charlotte author Robert Whitlow, and it's kind of my take on To Kill a Mockingbird. So it's just a straight courtroom drama with a good message, starring Matthew Modine.
You made this movie in your home state of North Carolina. Describe filming in the area where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was just a lot of fun. I grew up on the south side, and we made this movie all around the city, and it was kind of fun to come back. And our primary location was maybe 5 miles from where I grew up. And to come back, 20 years after high school and make a movie in your home city and state, it was fantastic.
And what was the community support while you began pre-production and during production process?
Well, the film community in North Carolina in general has always been very supportive of me, and had the film commissioner's help, and all the local community just really came out and helped us significantly, from locations to crew. It was just fantastic.
Now, you mentioned the book was adapted from the best-selling author Robert Whitlow's series of several books. Mm-hmm. What's it like adapting a novel into a screenplay? Because there's usually a lot of stuff that's cut out. Right. How do you go about doing that?
Well, it's, you're taking a 400-page book and turning it into a 100-page script, and that's very difficult. What I like to say is about 80% of the movie is from the novel, but it only represents about 20% of the novel. So, you have to leave a lot on the cutting room. Whitlow was actively involved as one of the screenwriters. And so his template was, if I wish I'd have thought of it for the book, then let's keep it in the movie. And so we just tried to tell, more than anything, we tried to tell a straight courtroom drama and keep those elements in, and so that audiences would like it as a movie. Because you have to be true to the medium of film more than you have to be true to the medium of a novel.
Do you have to work within a deadline?
You have to, because time is money, and so you have to stay on schedule the whole time. And so when we adapt, we stick pretty closely to a schedule. And so in this, it was one of our writing partners, Mark Freiberger, who's also from Charlotte. We gave him a month to come up with the first treatment and draft, and then we went from there, and then we went from there, and then we went from there. And so we stayed pretty much on schedule, except that the luxury is we're also in charge of the production. And so we could take our time. And so we, if we felt like we needed another week, then we took another week.
You mentioned your business and creative partner, Mark Freiberger, who also works with you on other projects. Mm-hmm. So what's it like when three of you are trying to adapt a book into a novel, you and Mark and Robert? There's, I'm sure, creative differences. And, of course, Robert, who wrote the novel, he knows what's going on, and you guys have to incorporate that to film.
We sort of let we sort of let Robert handle it. If he doesn't like it, we want him to be happy because he knows his readers. And so, he gives us a lot of leeway, and we just try to stay true to the genre. So we read a lot of scripts from courtroom dramas, and saw every courtroom drama you can imagine we watched, and just wanted to kind of get in that world. And so that's what set it up. But we gave him veto power. If he felt like his audience wouldn't like it, then we cut it out. But he only used that maybe 2 or 3 times.